Welcome to True Crime Threads, where we unravel the darkest secrets hidden behind tragic events. Today, we dive into the shocking case of a basketball star and a cheerleader whose lives collided in a deadly secret. Jeremiah J.J. Carter was the pride of Crestwood High School, a name that echoed in the town's gymnasium and beyond. Standing at an imposing 6'8", his talent on the basketball court was undeniable. A local hero, J.J. seemed destined for greatness, with college scouts frequently attending his games and offers piling up from prestigious universities. His natural charisma only amplified his appeal, earning him admiration from students and adults alike. It wasn't just his skills that captured attention, but the way he carried himself, exuding confidence that suggested he had everything under control. Among those who looked up to him was Brittany Hayes, a cheerleader with an equally radiant presence. Known for her dazzling routines and infectious energy, Brittany was a symbol of school spirit and determination. She was the kind of person who made friends effortlessly, lighting up every room she entered. Her cheerful demeanor and drive for success matched JJ's, making them a pair everyone admired. Though they weren't romantically linked, their bond was undeniable. People loved to talk about how the school's star athlete and star cheerleader supported one another, a friendship that seemed as picture-perfect as the rest of their lives. But while Brittany thrived in the spotlight, she had an innate curiosity that often led her to see beyond appearances. Her sharp instincts and natural inquisitiveness meant she could pick up on things others missed. What she saw in JJ was someone carrying a weight he didn't let others see. He might have appeared invincible on the court, but off it there were cracks in his armor, subtle signs of anxiety and restlessness that became harder to ignore. Brittany noticed his late-night disappearances, the cryptic excuses he offered when he missed casual hangouts, and the occasional moments when his usually composed demeanor faltered. Brittany's instincts told her there was more to JJ than he let on, and she began observing him more closely. She didn't intend to pry, but felt compelled to understand what he was hiding. The deeper she looked, the more she noticed inconsistencies in his stories and unexplained behavior. It wasn't unusual for her to share her observations with her close friends, who often dismissed them as overthinking. Yet Brittany couldn't shake the feeling that JJ's perfect image was a carefully constructed illusion. Her curiosity grew when she overheard a whispered conversation between JJ and someone outside the locker room late one evening. Though she couldn't make out every word, the tension in his voice was unmistakable. Brittany began piecing together small details, a mysterious phone call, a hurried exit from practice, and the way he avoided certain topics when they talked. Each clue brought her closer to something she couldn't yet define, but her determination to uncover the truth only grew stronger. One evening, she confided in her best friend, saying she had uncovered something shocking about JJ. Though she stopped short of revealing the full story, her cryptic hints left her friend concerned. Brittany promised to explain everything soon, but insisted on handling it herself for now. The next morning, Brittany didn't show up for school. Her absence was unusual enough to cause immediate concern among her friends and teachers. By the afternoon, word spread that she was missing. Flyers with her face covered every lamppost in town as search parties formed to look for her. As the community rallied to find the missing cheerleader, one question loomed large. What had she discovered, and where had she gone? Who is she, Bennett? The morning after Brittany Hayes went missing, Crestwood was thrown into chaos. Her absence was glaringly apparent to her friends and teachers, who immediately realized something was wrong. Brittany was the type of person who thrived on punctuality and never skipped a commitment. When she didn't arrive at school or respond to calls and messages, a sense of dread spread among those who knew her. By midday, the entire town was aware of her disappearance, and fear set in as the community grappled with the reality that something terrible might have happened. Search parties quickly formed, with volunteers combing the woods, parks, and back roads of Crestwood. Flyers with Brittany's photo and a plea for information covered every lamppost, store window, and community board. Her family appeared on the local news, tearfully begging for her safe return. The image of her parents, faces etched with worry, struck a chord with everyone watching. It was a scene that brought the town together, united by the collective hope of finding Brittany alive and well. Among those who joined the search was Jeremiah J. Carter, Brittany's close friend and the school's basketball star. JJ's usual confident demeanor was replaced with a somber expression as he helped distribute flyers and walked alongside others in the search effort. He was visibly shaken, his presence earning him sympathetic looks from townsfolk who admired how deeply he seemed to care. To everyone else, JJ was a concerned friend, doing his part to find Brittany. Behind closed doors, however, investigators were beginning to piece together a timeline of Brittany's last known movements. Her phone records revealed a series of texts exchanged with JJ the night before she disappeared. The messages hinted at a disagreement, with Brittany sending several urgent texts and JJ's responses becoming increasingly curt. When questioned by the police, JJ admitted that he and Brittany had argued, but insisted that she had left on her own after their conversation. His version of events seemed plausible, and his cooperative attitude initially reassured investigators. Despite his outward composure, JJ was growing increasingly nervous. He avoided direct eye contact during questioning, his hands fidgeting as he repeated his account of that evening. The stress of maintaining his story weighed heavily on him, and those closest to him noticed subtle changes in his behavior. JJ became quieter, more withdrawn, as if the pressure of the situation was eroding the confident persona he had built over the years. As days turned into weeks, the search for Brittany intensified. News of her disappearance spread beyond Crestwood, drawing regional attention. Investigators widened their scope, interviewing classmates, teachers, and anyone who might have seen or heard from Brittany in the hours before she vanished. Rumors began to swirl within the community. Some speculated that Brittany had run away, unable to handle the pressures of being in the spotlight. Others suggested foul play, whispering about potential suspects and motives. Despite the widespread efforts to find her, Brittany remained missing. Her family grew increasingly desperate, appearing at vigils and pleading for any information that might lead to her whereabouts. The town, once vibrant with the energy of high school games and community events, was now shrouded in unease. Through it all, JJ maintained his innocence, continuing to participate in the search efforts while trying to keep his emotions in check. But with every passing day, the weight of suspicion began to shift in his direction. Investigators couldn't ignore the inconsistencies in his story or the fact that he was the last person known to have been in contact with Brittany. For JJ, the walls were closing in, and he knew it was only a matter of time before the truth would come to light. 3 weeks after Brittany Hayes disappeared, the town of Crestwood was struck by a devastating discovery. A local hiker venturing through the dense woods on the outskirts of town stumbled upon a shallow grave partially obscured by fallen leaves. Alarmed by what he saw, the hiker immediately contacted authorities, who rushed to the scene. What they uncovered confirmed the community's worst fears: the remains of Brittany Hayes. The news hit Crestwood like a thunderclap. The vibrant cheerleader, whose face had adorned countless missing posters, was gone. Her death transformed the mystery of her disappearance into a homicide investigation. Shock and grief rippled through the town as residents struggled to come to terms with the tragedy. A sense of safety, once taken for granted, was shattered. For Brittany's family, the discovery was both devastating and enraging. They now had answers, but they were left grappling with the horrifying reality of what had happened to their beloved daughter. Forensic investigators quickly determined that Brittany had been the victim of foul play. The evidence painted a chilling picture. She had been strangled, and the injuries on her body indicated she had fought desperately against her attacker. Her fingernails contained traces of skin and blood, suggesting she had scratched her assailant in her final moments. This evidence provided detectives with a crucial lead, but it also raised the stakes, making it clear that whoever was responsible had committed a brutal and calculated crime. As the investigation intensified, the police turned their attention back to Jeremiah J.J. Carter. His name had been brought up early in the case due to the texts exchanged between him and Brittany on the night she disappeared. Though J.J. had initially cooperated with investigators, his demeanor during questioning raised subtle red flags. Now, with Brittany's body discovered and new evidence emerging, the scrutiny on him grew more intense. Detectives obtained a warrant to search J.J.'s home, hoping to uncover anything that might link him to Brittany's murder. The search proved to be a turning point in the investigation. Hidden in the back of J.J.'s closet, detectives found a gym bag containing items that sent shockwaves through the investigative team. Inside the bag was Brittany's cheerleading uniform, unmistakable with its school logo and her name stitched on the inside. Even more damning was a blood-stained towel folded neatly alongside it. The evidence was irrefutable. Brittany's uniform and the bloodstains tied directly to her death, making it impossible for J.J. to explain them away. Confronted with these findings, J.J. maintained his innocence, claiming he had no idea how the items ended up in his possession. However, the discovery of the gym bag was enough for authorities to make an arrest. The town watched in disbelief as their once revered basketball star was led away in handcuffs. J.J.'s arrest marked a turning point, not only in the investigation but also in how the community viewed him. The image of the perfect athlete admired by so many was now irreparably tarnished. People who had once cheered his name at games now questioned whether they had ever truly known him. As J.J. awaited his day in court, the case against him began to solidify. Forensics experts analyzed the evidence linking the blood on the towel to Brittany. Meanwhile, the scratches on J.J.'s arms, which he had initially dismissed as sports injuries, matched the DNA found under Brittany's nails. With mounting evidence pointing directly to J.J., the question was no longer whether he was involved, but why he had committed such a heinous act. The once promising athlete now stood at the center of a horrifying crime, and the world waited to uncover the truth behind his actions. The revelation of Jeremiah J.J. Carter's arrest sent shockwaves far beyond the town of Crestwood. Once celebrated as a local hero, his name now became synonymous with betrayal and violence. Media outlets descended upon the small town, eager to unravel the story of how a promising basketball star could be involved in such a gruesome crime. The discovery of Brittany's body, combined with the damning evidence found in J.J.'s possession, painted a chilling picture of a young man with a dark secret. As investigators continued to piece together the timeline, they uncovered a series of startling details about J.J.'s double life. Despite his outward image of perfection, J.J. had been harboring a secret that threatened to unravel everything he had worked for. Anonymous tips and testimony from classmates revealed that J.J. was under immense pressure, not just from his basketball commitments, but from maintaining an illusion of control. The investigation unearthed that J.J. had been involved in an academic scandal. He had paid someone to complete his schoolwork, ensuring his grades remained high enough to secure college scholarships. Brittany, known for her sharp intuition, had stumbled upon this secret after overhearing a heated conversation between J.J. and the person he had paid. Her natural inclination to uncover the truth had led her to dig deeper, ultimately discovering evidence that could expose J.J.'s scheme. Brittany's discovery placed her in a precarious position. Those close to her remembered her mentioning that she had uncovered something shocking about J.J., though she never revealed the full extent of what she knew. As detectives delved into their findings, it became clear that J.J. had panicked when Brittany confronted him. Her decision to confront him directly rather than report the matter to authorities had inadvertently sealed her fate. On the night Brittany disappeared, JJ had arranged to meet her at a secluded spot near the woods. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station captured JJ's car driving toward the area at the same time Brittany was last seen alive. Investigators theorized that what began as a conversation quickly escalated into an argument. JJ, desperate to protect his reputation and future, had acted impulsively. In a moment of blind rage, he had attacked Brittany, strangling her to silence the threat she posed. Forensics confirmed that the injuries Brittany sustained matched the circumstances of the struggle. Scratches on JJ's arms and neck, previously attributed to sports injuries, were consistent with the defensive wounds Brittany inflicted while fighting for her life. The blood found on the towel in JJ's gym bag further solidified his involvement. JJ's arrest revealed the stark contrast between the image he had cultivated and the reality of his actions. The town, once united in its admiration for him, now found itself grappling with feelings of betrayal and disbelief. The courtroom became the stage for the unraveling of JJ's carefully constructed facade. As prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence against him, Brittany's family, devastated by the loss of their beloved daughter, vowed to seek justice. They attended every hearing, their presence a reminder of the life that had been stolen and the pain that could never be undone. As the trial loomed, the focus shifted to understanding how someone so admired could commit such a heinous act. The town of Crestwood, still reeling from the tragedy, watched as the truth about JJ and Brittany's final moments came to light. As the trial of Jeremiah J.J. Carter began, the town of Crestwood was gripped by a sense of disbelief. The courtroom, once a place where justice prevailed in minor cases, now became the stage for one of the most shocking events the community had ever seen. JJ, once a beloved high school star, was now the defendant in a murder trial, accused of taking the life of Brittany Hayes, the cheerleader he had once been so close to. The air was thick with tension, as everyone waited to hear the full story behind Brittany's tragic death. Prosecutors presented a compelling case, with evidence that painted a clear picture of JJ's guilt. The DNA evidence, the blood-stained towel, and the scratches on his arms all pointed directly to him. The surveillance footage from the gas station showed his car heading towards the wooded area on the night Brittany vanished. All of these details were damning, but it was the motive that truly shocked everyone. JJ's secret life, hidden behind his perfect image, had been revealed. Brittany had uncovered his academic dishonesty, a revelation that threatened to ruin everything JJ had worked for. He had been hiding behind a facade of success, and when Brittany confronted him, he had panicked. The pressure of maintaining his scholarship offers and his future prospects had pushed him to a breaking point. In a moment of rage, he had killed the one person who could destroy him. Brittany's attempt to confront him had cost her her life. The defense, however, painted a different picture. They claimed that JJ had acted in self-defense, arguing that Brittany had attacked him during their confrontation and in the heat of the moment he had acted out of fear. The defense tried to downplay the severity of the situation, suggesting that JJ had never intended to kill her. But the prosecution quickly dismantled these claims, pointing to the careful planning and execution of the crime. The struggle between JJ and Brittany had been one of survival, but Brittany hadn't stood a chance. As the trial progressed, more details of JJ's past came to light. His previously impeccable reputation began to crumble under the weight of his lies and actions. Witnesses testified about his growing anxiety and the changes in his behavior leading up to Brittany's disappearance. He had been under intense pressure, yes, but that didn't excuse what he had done. The more the prosecution revealed, the harder it became for anyone to believe that JJ had acted without intent. Brittany's family, though devastated by the loss of their daughter, remained steadfast throughout the trial. Her parents, visibly broken but determined, attended every session, never once wavering in their pursuit of justice. The courtroom, once filled with hushed whispers of disbelief, now reverberated with the raw pain of a family seeking closure. Brittany's mother spoke through her tears, recalling the vibrant life her daughter had lived and how her future had been stolen from her in an instant. Finally, the day of the verdict arrived. JJ sat motionless in his seat, his face a mask of uncertainty and fear. The jury deliberated for hours, weighing the evidence, the testimony, and the heart-wrenching accounts of those who had known Brittany. When the verdict was announced guilty of first-degree murder, JJ showed no emotion. His once invincible facade had shattered completely. In the days that followed, the town of Crestwood was left to process the aftermath. The basketball courts that had once echoed with cheers now stood silent, a stark reminder of the darkness that had overtaken their community. JJ was sentenced to life in prison, his future forever altered by his own actions. Brittany's family, though devastated, found solace in knowing that justice had been served. The story of Brittany Hayes and J.J. Carter became a painful chapter in the history of Crestwood, a community that had once believed in the promise of its youth. As time passed, the memory of Brittany's life and the tragedy that took it away remained etched in the hearts of those who had known her. The town would never be the same again, but the lesson was clear. Appearances could be deceiving, and beneath the surface, even the most admired individuals could hide the darkest secrets.